Hello and welcome to The Media Man. I'm Jay Martin, and this episode is going to be kind of just about making your own podcast. Now, for anybody that is interested in podcasting, this video is definitely for you, because not only are we going to learn how to make a podcast, we're going to learn how to produce a podcast, how to edit a podcast, and then finally learn how to publish a podcast, all for free, providing you have the correct equipment, etc. So you can do a podcast for relatively cheap, and that's not in terms of the software. You can do podcasts in terms of equipment relatively cheap. Now, the way I started up was literally just with my phone and my Turtle Beach gaming headset. So it's just literally a one-piece headset, and I just plugged it into my phone, and there you go, the podcast was made, and that cost around £15 altogether, and the only cost was the headphones. So, but today I'm going to show you just how to make a podcast, and how you can do it in the most cost-effective way, but also have the best possible quality podcast in terms of audio, and maybe if you're doing videos, I can help you with that too. So, this is how you make a podcast. Now, of course, when you're creating your own podcast, you really want to be using a good software. So of course we're going to start up with actually setting up your podcast and kind of getting used to using software, etc., in order to actually register it. So before we even start recording or showing you the equipment that we use, we need to know what software we actually want to use. So on my screen I've got Anchor, which is owned by Spotify. It's a great piece of software that I've been using for the last 2 years for my podcast. And I've accumulated thousands of views, and these guys have really helped me to kind of get used to podcasting. And also, if you're in America, it can help you make a bit of money as well with sponsorship and monetization. So Anchor, as I say, I've been using it for 2 years. It's super easy to set up with, and in this screen recorded clip that you're about to see, I'm going to kind of give you a run through of how to set up your own podcast in terms of making an account on Anchor, and then publishing videos to it, etc., a bit later on. So when making your Anchor podcast account, of course, you want to start by putting in your full name, your email, your password, date of birth, etc., and kind of giving the account all the information that it needs in order to start up your own podcast and make your own account, basically. So I'm going to go and put in my account details now to obviously create my account, and then I'll be back in a moment to show you what the next step is. So once you've entered your details, you'll literally just click sign up, and then you enter this screen. So you can see my mouse currently just hovering over it, and it says welcome to Anchor, here's what's next. So the first thing that you're going to do is kind of set up your podcast. So I would recommend first, unless you want to, you can obviously make a trailer as mentioned there, or you can set up your podcast. So the first thing I reckon that you should do is go to set up your podcast. So just click on go to podcast setup. Once you've clicked podcast setup, you're going to want to enter all your details. So for example, I'm going to put in my the podcast name, which is literally J Martin Media Man, and then the podcast description is just showcasing the work of J Martin. So essentially this podcast will literally just have things like football commentaries, maybe little clips that I've had from the YouTube videos that I haven't included in it, stuff like that. So then I'll choose my category, which is just here, and I'm literally just going to click, for example, we'll go to news commentary, or sports news. Let's go to sports news. So, and then obviously the language of the podcast is going to be in English, United Kingdom English, obviously. And then you click continue. So once you've done your cover art, once you've done all your setup, you want to then come to cover art. Now, once you've obviously selected your cover art, whatever, you can go for a photo that's on your phone, you can upload an image, or you can have one chosen for you. So I'm going to be back in a few minutes just to kind of make my cover art, and then I'll upload it on here to kind of give you a glimpse of what the cover art actually does and how actually important it might be to your podcast. So once you've made your podcast cover art and you've set that up, The next kind of thing that you want to do is coming to making your episode. So the setting up of your account is complete. You've got your cover art. Now you want to be going on to making your first episode. So the first thing you want to do is click the button that says let's do it. So the one that I've just circled with my mouse here. So once you're on now, let's do it, you can go to things like your dashboard, and on your dashboard we'll have all your episodes in the future. And obviously we're going to have to make an episode in order to do something. So here you go, J Martin Media Man, showcasing the work of J Martin. And then you've got all your public site, you've got your Facebook, Twitter, and your URL, which you can also kind of edit into it. You can click the little pen and you can edit your podcast name, your email, your website. You can add anything that you'd really like to, so that people can easily connect with all your social medias, or you just want to maybe customize your account. That's dashboard. Now, when you go to episodes, you can go, there'll be eventually a list of episodes that you have published in the past. So with my current podcast, I've got like 70 episodes and they're all lined up down here. So that's another one for the future there. And obviously money, something that you'll come across a little bit later on. But the first thing that we're going to want to do is go to new episode. So in just a few moments, I'm going to quickly add some of my sound files from my latest commentary, which I'm going to upload as a podcast, and we're going to set it to the account. So if you just give me a few moments, I'll upload those and then I'll show you just how the publishing process works. It's really easy and very, very easy to use, as I say, and it also takes very little time. Obviously got your files, whether it be your normal podcast files or you've got some files like I've got for sports. All you're going to want to do is literally just click on them to upload them. So I've got the second half of the commentary there, and whilst that uploads, I'll wait for that to upload until I can get the next one on. So essentially this is going to be public within a matter of moments really, when I click save episode and publish it and whatever. But of course you're just going to want to add in all the files that you wish to add, and I'll show you all the awesome stuff that's down here as well that you can use. But first of all, obviously we're going to have to add in any files that we like. So I'm going to add in the first half commentary now, so you can see first half, second half, and it will literally just be processing for hopefully a few moments, not too long, and then we will go on to showing you how all this kind of stuff works. So about 80% done now, so it doesn't actually take that long if you've got quite a fast device, and then it will literally just process for a few moments. But whilst I'm here, I may as well show you. So things like transitions, you can see you've got, whether it be anomaly or alley, a clue, there's loads of different sounds that you can have, whether it be a 1 second one or a 10-second one to kind of split the clips, or maybe you can go into your library, which eventually will have all your other sound clips, and you can add them into the middle, and you can also move these around, as you can see. So for example, I don't want my second half first, so I'd literally just move it like that and it's all done. So a pretty simple way to do it, you literally just click to upload, enter the file of your choice, so you can go to your documents or whatever, and then wait for it to process. So I'll come back to you in a few moments once it's processed and show you how to make your episode and how to make it proper, and then how to publish it as well. So once your episodes are, your files are uploaded, as you can see here, I've got my second half, my first half, and obviously my library just on the left. You are pretty much ready at the most basic stage to start making your podcast. Now obviously you've got the choice of adding music to your show, so maybe you can add a little clip of some music from Spotify, whatever music you like, you can add it, or you can maybe add a voice message, so you can ask your listeners to send in voice messages of what they thought on the podcast, of which you can later include in videos, in podcasts, etc. You can also add transitions, as I mentioned, but we're not going to bother about that just yet. We're going to go to save episode. So you click save episode, and then you enter your episode title. So it's going to be Hull City versus Nottingham Forest. And I'm going to put that as in 2021. And then you literally just go in, and then in the episode description, that is, in this episode entails the commentary of J. Martin from Hull versus Forest last year. So in future, I'll of course include dates, but I've completely forgot the date. So it's not a great start. But Hull City versus Nottingham Forest, there's your episode title, your description. You have to do both of these things. It's really important. Make a good title and obviously make something in future a bit more kind of engaging than obviously the title I've just made. But this is just a draft to show you how this all works. So publishing as well, you can also publish it on this date. So I'm literally just going to click publish now. However, you can choose dates, times, and then literally just click confirm. And once you put all this in, you're sorted. So the next thing I'm going to do is go to season number. So it's not really that important season number, but it's good for keeping your episodes organized. So I'm going to have season 1 and then episode number 1. This is a full episode. I've obviously got my cover art just there, which is just the logo. You can add a poll, you can add a question, you can do what you like. And once you've put in all those things, so your title, your description and all your other optional bits, you can click next. So obviously I'm just going to quickly verify my email address. And once I've done that, we can get on to publishing the episode. So once you've obviously verified your email and you've put in all your description and other details, you literally just want to click next. Once you've clicked next, you just click, it will ask you ready to publish for your very first episode. It won't do that every time. So you can see here, it just says ready to publish. You just want to click publish and there you go. Your podcast will be available on Spotify shortly. We'll let you know as soon as you're ready. So essentially, the next stage is looking at podcast availability. So you'll have it on Spotify and Anchor to start with, and then in the future it will go to things like Google, Amazon, Apple, and it should just do that by itself. However, you can have, your RSS feed enabled, and you can submit your RSS feed to other podcasting apps externally that aren't the ones that were previously mentioned. But as you can see here, Apple Podcasts, Google, Overcast, Breaker, Castbox, Pocket Casts, Radio Public and Stitcher all host Anchor podcasts on them for free. So that'll just do its own thing. That'll take a good 10 or so days and maybe even a month. That's how long it took me, around a month, for everything to kind of go live. And then you're ready. So now my episode is ready to be published. It will take a little bit of time to publish it for your very first time, obviously because you've only just created the account. But as you can see, you've got your link to your Spotify here, and I can just literally have my link there if I ever want to share it with people. So there you go. That's how you publish your first episode using Anchor. However, the next part of the video is going to be, what equipment do I really need? Or should I say, what equipment should you use and that is actually helpful to making proper podcast episodes? So once you've made all of your podcasts and you've distributed your first episode, or should I say a trailer, really, I recommend making first, you can start by looking at equipment. So the kit I've got here is a Blue Yeti Mic Pro, around £120 in the UK, and a really, really good piece of kit. As you can see, it just connects by a USB cable, so this isn't XLR, and has a little aux port in the bottom of it for your headphones, and also a boom mic stand adapter there. So USB cable, aux headphones port, and also you've obviously got my mic cover, which I bought for a few pound off Amazon. Really, really good microphone, and it is there's multiple settings, so you can have it on things like cardioid, which is like a more front-facing setting, or you can have one that records the whole thing, the whole area, and much more. So there's 4 settings on there available. You can also adjust the gain on the back as well, and it's a really nice carbon metal finish on the microphone as well. And as I say, it costs around £120. So now you don't just have to get that microphone. There is plenty of other options available on the market, some of them for much cheaper, some of them for more expensive. However, I recommend using the Blue Yeti Mic Pro. Really, really useful, and obviously it just slots in straight away, so you won't need a mixer or anything like that. And there's plenty of software that you can use, such as Voicemeeter, which allows you to have a mixer on your computer for USB mics and so on. So the benefit with having something like a USB mic is you're only spending £120 on the microphone. You're not spending £120 on a microphone and then having to have the mixer as well. Although some people do prefer XLR just as they have more buttons and stuff that they can use to control the microphones. And also, having two USB microphones isn't always the easiest thing. However, in a later video in this series of podcasting tips and advice, I'll kind of show you how you can connect up two USB mics really easily for just the price of £9. Super, super easy. So that's the first thing that I recommend getting, a Blue Yeti Mic Pro. So not only that, but I recommend that you get a pair of these fantastic headphones. They are Audio Technica, as you can just see there, a fantastic company that makes really good quality headphones. As you can see, kind of a spongy ear shield there, which gives it a really good noise cancelling effect. And if they really are on high volume, believe me, you're going to hear it and you will not hear anything else around your house. So I recommend that having maybe one off if you're waiting for someone at the door for a delivery. But if you're doing things like podcast editing and stuff, they are really, really useful. And also just when you're doing recording, really, really useful. You can just plug them into the bottom. They've also got an adapter as well for something like a guitar or similar inputs, and are really, really good. So you can get these for around £44 off Amazon. As I say, Audio Technica headphones, just search that up and it should come up with these ones. So this is really, really useful. You can have them, as I say, plug it into your headphones and then record, and you can kind of monitor your voice levels, and it gives a really, really crispy sound and a really good bass as well on them as well. So really, really useful piece of kit there. So as I say, we've got the Blue Yeti mic and the Audio Technica headphones. Really, really useful. About £164 as a combined cost. And other than that, there's not actually anything else that you'll really need. You can literally go straight from recording on my PC and just plug it into the USB port down below, and then you can straight away access the either recording on the Anchor app or by Audacity. So really, that's the only two pieces of kit you'll actually need. Other than that though, these can both be replaced literally by a simple external mic such as a gaming headset or a handheld microphone. Any other microphone that you have can be used in a similar way, even headphones, and then you can just upload your audio to Anchor and it does the rest for you. So the next stage of the equipment kind of section is Audacity. Now, although it's not a physical equipment and it is obviously software, other than the microphone and the headphones, which are hardware, this piece of equipment is really important because it not only is it free, but it's super, super easy to use. Now, you won't be going into loads of depth if you're using Audacity. If you really want to get really good sound software and audio software, you can look elsewhere on the internet for like paid versions of things, but I recommend using Audacity just to start with. So I'm kind of going to showcase you in the next clip what exactly is Audacity and also how to use it. It's really, really simple, and I'll just do a quick recording for you so that you understand kind of how easy it is to cut clips, to record clips, and then also to export clips. Really, really simple. Now, when creating your podcast, literally you're going to be obviously making episodes all the time, whether it be on a weekly basis, a monthly basis, yearly basis, or maybe even you're doing a fortnightly basis. Whatever it is, you're going to obviously have to produce your audio. So you can do this via the Anchor app. However, the only issue I have with it is sometimes it can mess up and your episode actually gets lost, and other times you can only record for 30 minutes. So there's not actually that many benefits to it in terms of time. If you're looking to do longer podcasts, Audacity is definitely for you. So in the Audacity menu, we've got pause, play, stop, backwards, forwards, and then obviously record. So I'm going to record a very small clip for you now. So I'm just going to literally say 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Now you can see that the audio is coming out of my webcam, which is just above my PC, hence why it's not really as good sound. Now let's say I was done with that and I wanted to chop off the end. You can literally just click on it to highlight it, or you can double click to highlight it all. But if you want to just click on it once and then highlight, then you can just literally click Control X to remove it, and that's as simple as it is to cut a clip. Now let's say you wanted to fade in and out of a clip, however, you'd go to Effect, then you'd go to Fade Out at the end, and then to start with you'd go to Fade In. So you've just got you faded in, you faded out, and you've also learned how to cut. Very, very simple. So in your effects, you've also got things like invert, reducing noise, phaser, repair, and so on. But I'd recommend just giving them a little try yourself first before you kind of get into it all, really. Just kind of play around with it for a while. Don't jump into it. Don't be too serious. Just give yourself a bit of time to enjoy and kind of get a glimpse of how you actually use this software. So once you've done that, you can literally go up to File, then click Export. And now, obviously, if it's a large file, I'd recommend exporting as an MP3 just because it takes up a lot of space. However, if you've got the space, definitely export it as a WAV file, as that is really high quality audio. So I'm going to save it as, let's just say, test for YouTube. And then that's saved as a WAV file. As I say, it's faded in, faded out, and we've obviously cut a bit of it. And then later on, if you wanted to make a new episode, you'd just literally go to New Episode, and then drag in your desired clip. So really, really easy to do, really easy to use, and essentially that's really what Audacity is. So you just click record, click that to stop, and then obviously you can choose your inputs and your outputs. So this is your speakers. So obviously I use my microphone and just plug my headphones in to hear my computer audio, and then obviously you just want to record on one channel, and then this is your input. So essentially I'm using my microphone, my Yeti stereo mic, so I wouldn't want to click anything like my webcam or my sound mapper or my voice meter, because that wouldn't make any sense. Click the microphone you're using and then have your speakers for whatever you want. So you might have external speakers, click on them, and then that is it. So that is really as simple as it is to use Audacity. Really easy, and you can just export it directly to Anchor. So the next step is going to be kind of, once it's published, what can you do? So the next step is going to be marketing your podcast. So the next bit is marketing your podcast. Now, of course, you've made your episode, you've learned how to edit it, you put it through the audio recording software, and all of that is done. So what really is next? Now, marketing is super important because not only have you got your podcast, but unless you share it somewhere, it's very unlikely people are actually going to see it. Now, although they might see it in the search algorithm, or it may come up on their recommended, whether they're on Anchor or any other app, it's unlikely they'll see it unless you share it. So obviously this goes back to where you can add in your social media. So I recommend putting in a link to your accounts in the settings menu that I showed you earlier. And also make sure that you're telling all your friends about this. Now, literally, to just share this podcast is so important. You can click the link in the search bar at the very top, and you can just paste it onto your Facebook, onto your Instagram. Obviously Instagram, you can't directly click the link, and you can also put it on your Snapchat, Twitter, anywhere else that you want to put it. It's super, super important that you market your podcast. Now, when marketing your podcast, you really, really want to get used to kind of telling people about it. Don't be nervous to share your podcast, and kind of get ready for maybe some constructive criticism on your first episode, or however people are going to give you feedback. Just be ready. However, what I usually do is just literally click the link and then paste it into Facebook, Twitter, or any of the groups that I'm in on Facebook, and then you can just share it as far and wide as you can. Now, Twitter's really useful because using hashtags and stuff like that can really get you a lot of likes, and you can also get on trending pages and things. So it's really, really useful. So I recommend using Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook if you really want to get your podcast out there. Now, make sure to invite all your friends to your pages, and make sure that you just share that link as much as possible. Also, make sure that you're making the most engaging videos and also the most interesting videos for your target audience, so that you can really get the best out of your account. Now, obviously, if you're just making episodes that your target audience aren't interested in at all, it's very unlikely that you're going to see a high return in terms of views. So make sure that you've got a good target market, make sure you've got a unique selling point, and be ready to take on the world of podcasting. It's going to be really, really exciting. You're going to enjoy it, but just make sure you market it well. Tell your friends, share on your social media, and also maybe do some interactive things as well, or get other people to share it, or do share for shares, and it will really, really increase the amount of people that are listening to your podcast. So once all of that is done, once you've got your video published, your account set up, obviously before that, you've learned how to use Audacity, super easy, and you've got all your equipment, the only thing now to do is to have fun. So enjoy making your podcast. I've been doing it for 2 years. I've made around 70 episodes. I've interviewed some great people, whether it be MPs, Ed Davey, the leader of the Liberal Democrat Party, UFC fighters such as Eric Anders, and other sports people as well, and also local people that are really important in the community. So podcasting is a massive, massive way to not only share your opinions and your views, but also to share the views and opinions of other people freely and also freely, in terms of not only being able to share it without having criticisms or anything from the actual app, but also you can share it for free. So it's really, really useful. So I hope this video was really helpful in terms of getting you to make your own podcast. And I didn't want to keep it short simply for the fact that I want to go into detail and I want to be able to help you make your podcast. If you've got any further questions, make sure to comment down below and I'm more than happy to help you out. But that was basically just how to get started on Anchor and set up your own podcast for free. And obviously getting the equipment might cost you a little bit of money, but it's a really useful investment if you are dedicated to making podcasts.